Greetings, Tezos Nation. Welcome to another edition of TezTalks Live. I'm Stu from the Tezos Commons. Joining me today is Ben Fuentes, Developer Relations Specialist at Nomadic Labs. Nomadic Labs, who, for those who might not know, is one of the largest research and development centers in the Tezos ecosystem. It's composed of more than 50 engineering researchers working on the ongoing development and adoption of the Tezos protocol. The team also focuses on business development in France, Belgium, Netherlands, Luxembourg, and Germany. Hi, Ben. Where are you right now, and how is the weather?
Hey, I'm fine. I'm based in Nice, in France. It's between Monaco and Cannes. Well, we have a sunny winter for the moment. It's fine. Well, you should come this summer in July, beginning of July, to Cannes. I think there will be a lot of crypto events here.
I wish I could, believe me. To get the ball rolling, can you tell us a bit about your background and your personal journey into the exciting world of blockchain technology?
Yeah, sure. So I work in IT for more than 15 years now. Discovered Bitcoin in 2011. I worked for IBM on Hyperledger Fabric in 2015. Joined Marigold in 2022 and discovered the Tezos ecosystem there. And now I am dev rel at Nomadic Labs since last October.
Okay. And that, as you mentioned, that journey has led you to joining the Developer Relations Department of Nomadic Labs. I introed Nomadic Labs briefly off the top there, but for those who might not be super familiar, how would you describe Nomadic Labs and its role here in the Tezos ecosystem?
Yeah, sure. Nomadic Labs is the biggest R&D entity working on Tezos. It's composed of the R&D core team and an option unit in France, Benelux, and Germany. So currently the focus is on Etherlink development and its promotion.
Okay. And what exactly do you do in your developer relations role at Nomadic? What does a day in the work life of Ben Fuentes look like exactly?
Never get bored because you're in the middle of everything. In fact, you make the link between all the external, the app builders, bakers, and the internal core team. It covers the communication, documentation, feedback gathering. You have to do internal testing, preparing demos, going to conferences, participating in the product strategy also. So it's a bit a mix of technical domain and also be close to the business.
Okay. And I understand you've been heavily involved in the ongoing development of JsTz. Tezos is JavaScript runtime powered by optimistic rollups, which is something I was hoping we could spend a fair bit of time chatting about today. First off, for the JsTz uninitiated, what exactly is JsTz and why is it important?
Yes, so JsTz is JavaScript runtime. It's 100 compatible with ECMAScript. That is one piece of Tezos X. So it's different from other runtimes of blockchain because it does not force the developers to learn a new language. So the learning curve is almost zero for them. By the way, you can also reuse all the JS tooling and the libraries that you already have. Also, by default, JsTz is using TypeScript as a default language. We are targeting the web developers who are representing the largest community of software developers in the world.
Okay. And where's JsTz at in terms of its overall development at this stage?
So actually, the dev team is still working on JsTz node server to make it more stable and usable on your local machine, for local development. They released a TypeScript client recently, but it's still in alpha. And frankly speaking, you can use it on your machine on a testnet, but not yet on a testnet, but only on your machine and not for production. So personally, I keep updating a tutorial on every release they do. For some curious people, they can track the progress that is made also.
Okay. Where can those tutorials and updates be found?
For the moment, it's on the GitHub for people asking on Discord. If they want to ping me, I can give the link. But it's in alpha, so they don't have to worry there are some bugs still.
Okay, and to ping you on Discord, as you say, what's your handle on there?
So I think it's Benjamin Fuentes. I will give you a later.
Okay,
It's on Etherlink. You go on Etherlink Discord and you will find me.
I
Or
see.
to the channel for tech support, and you will just ask, and I will be here.
Okay, and having joined the effort to bring JsTz to life so far into its overall development journey, what do you think are the most important problems that need to be solved in getting JsTz out into the wild?
So while everyone is looking to build something, an MVP on JsTz right now, but we need to have a clean and stable runtime first. It's like you're building a house. It takes time for the foundation, and after you can add flow faster. So we solved the language issue for the developers with JavaScript. On the other hand, we have to integrate with wallets, other tooling, because it's a new ecosystem. So to reach a rich and complete ecosystem, it will take a bit more time.
Okay, obviously it's quite a complex challenge to bring something this to life. Um, so in terms of that journey that you just laid out, what is the team building JsTz working on right now?
So, like I said, on the JsTz daemon, that is the node that you run locally, the TypeScript client, and also recently I saw the team working on the performance improvement because they want to run it over RISC-V. So the kernel today are based on WASM, but WASM has some limitation, and that does not exist on RISC-V. So I see lots of good results and enthusiasm around RISC-V recently.
Okay. And from your perspective, like, why do you think building JsTz is such an important priority for the Tezos ecosystem?
So JsTz will come just after Etherlink as a new value proposition for a new kind of people, a bit less blockchain-ish, I would say.
Okay. But in terms of that makes sense that you can by creating this language, you can allow people who, as you put it, are a little bit less blockchainish. But by doing that, what does that mean for the growth of the Tezos ecosystem and its overall health as it moves forward?
So for the current people in the ecosystem, they will be able to have a new runtime for them. That is TezLink. That will be a Michelson runtime. So for them, it will be more or less the same experience. So what we are looking for JsTz is a bit different. Is it people less blockchainish, I would say, and this is addressing more big corporation or industry key players that maybe they are a bit far from this kind of development right now.
Okay, so kind of what you're talking about is using that tooling and having that in place to attract new builders and users to the Tezos ecosystem. So what I'm really asking is, by attracting those people into the ecosystem and getting them building here, how does that impact the overall health of the ecosystem as you see it?
I think it will bring more people. Other current people, they will not impact so much, I would say. They will have to migrate to the L2 if they want. They're not obliged. But it brings more accessibility for the newcomers. I would say bringing new runtime, because like I said before, this corporation, they often look at blockchain development that is costly, unstable, complex, etc., and segmented. And what we are proposing here is more accessibility, cheaper costs, and being interoperable. That's something that is a bit unique, I would say.
Okay. And you mentioned that you're working on updates, and you're working on giving information on the progress of JsTz. When can we expect to see more information on the JsTz development journey? And is there any inclination as to when it can be expected to go live?
Okay, so just what I can say that will be several beta release at the beginning of this year. There will come pieces by piece by piece. So I doubt that everything will be MVP ready at the first semester, I would say. And if you mean by go live, it's an MVP. That I'm not saying it's not going to happen this semester. We are going to release beta by pieces, like I said, and that will be important milestone for us. So we want to also we take time to get feedback and prioritize next step, because there are a lot of things to do, and it's very important to get the right path and the shorter path to this MVP.
Okay. This is all great stuff so far, and I'm excited to learn more. But before we dive into the nitty gritty, are you ready for the world famous TezTalks lightning round?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, great. Then it's lightning round time. Remember, there are no wrong answers. This is just for fun, so our viewers can get to know you a little bit better. Are you ready?
Yep.
Are you a night owl or an early riser?
Night owl.
Exercise or naps?
Naps after exercise.
Little loophole there. So both. Movies or video games?
Oh, well, video games, they are like movies today, but we can play the movies, and that's great.
What's your favorite country to visit for a vacation?
I go to Spain every year, but I like to travel some new countries.
Okay. If you were elected king of the world, what's the first thing you would do?
Well, rename Twitter to it.com. It seems like Elon Musk would do that. Well, I would say to bring more courage to and freedom to people, to not lose hope.
Okay. Name one thing you will never do again.
Never talk to French administration.
French administration. Okay.
You have
what's
to
the
live here to understand what it means.
What's the secret to happiness?
Be optimist.
Okay. Do you have any pets?
Yes, I have one Japanese Spitz named Lightbug.
Lightbug. I like it.
She's not here right now, but she's snoring sometimes.
And finally, what's your favorite thing to do on a rainy day?
Not raining a lot here, but maybe drinking beer.
Very nice. Excellent answers. This concludes the TezTalks lightning round. Let's get back into it. So now that we've talked a little bit about JsTz, I'd like to zoom out a bit and talk about the current state of the Tezos ecosystem and how the developer journey is evolving in 2025. The thing everybody's talking about in the Tezos ecosystem right now is Tezos X. Can you give us a brief explanation of what Tezos X is from a developer relations standpoint?
Yeah. So well, we have to understand that everyone is moving to layer 2s right now. Just looking on users, just try to find a user that is happy with Ethereum layer 1 app. It will be keyed by the credit costs he has on the layer 1 and maybe the transaction delay he has to wait for. So we are assuming that we were assuming that L1 were not scaling so far and on the past, and that's the reality that is true today. So we want to have this vision of Tezos X that will be a multi runtime layer, and will solve this problem.
Okay. Like for somebody like me who doesn't necessarily have a technical background, can you expand on that a little bit when you're talking about L1 blockchains not scaling and how Tezos X and the transition to layer 2 enables that?
Yeah, so there are some physical limitation due to the networks and the consensus on the layer 1. For every layer 1, I would say, every blockchain layer 1. Otherwise, you have something that is very concentrated on a small space like a data center, but blockchain running on the data center is not what we want. Something that is too centralized. So solution has come with the layer 2s, and so Tezos has this layer 1, we still have, and we still remain. But now with Tezos X, we are going to these layer 2s for scaling and reducing cost at the same time. So I would say if you want to stay with a robust layer 1 solution and you don't need to have the scalability, you can stay on Tezos layer 1. That's not a problem. But bringing this layer 2 with Etherlink today and JsTz after will enlarge the possibilities, of scaling. So and reducing the cost. So we saw these users and the apps they are deploying today on Arbitrum, on Optimism base. All the people they are following this movement, and we are doing the same with Tezos X right now.
Okay, and along with the shift you're talking about of sort of from being a layer 1 blockchain ecosystem to being a layer 2 blockchain ecosystem, does that bring with it a sort of a change in perception from builders and developers of what Tezos is?
Maybe on the branding, because in the people's mind, they still believe that Tezos is just the layer 1. But with Tezos X now, they will have to understand that we have layer 1 and multi runtime layer 2. So like I said, today we just have Etherlink that is available on the layer 2, but we are bringing more runtime one by one.
Okay. And what are the benefits of moving toward layer 2 functionality in the way that you're describing?
So layer 2s, what they do, the layer 2s, they leverage the consensus of the layer 1. So if you remove this piece from the layer 2, what you will reduce is the latency and the fee cost, and you increase the scalability. So you are not maybe also fixed to kind of profile of hardware on the layer 1. On the layer 2, you can bring new machines and you can scale also vertically, this kind of thing. That's explain why we can reduce this cost and have less latency. Yeah.
Okay. And earlier on you sort of mentioned this transition, having JsTz there, having Etherlink there as sort of a vehicle to attract institutions and big brands who are looking to build blockchain powered projects into the ecosystem. So I'm just wondering, the way that you're describing it, reducing latency, fee cost, increasing scalability. If I'm somebody that's looking to build a project and I'm seeing this layer 2 functionality and I'm seeing Tezos X in place, what does that mean for me in terms of wanting to bring my project into this ecosystem?
You mean the effort that you have to do to go there?
Yes. Yeah.
So
Like how does the things that you're describing, the transition toward layer 2, Etherlink, JsTz, all of these things brought together in Tezos X, how does it make Tezos a more appealing place for me to develop my project?
So it depends which runtime you are targeting. So for example, if you are coming from the layer 1, you will deploy and migrate to TezLink. If you are coming from the Ethereum ecosystem, so you will choose Etherlink as a target. So if you are familiar with Solidity and all the tooling that you have with Hard Hat or Foundry, you will be able to either migrate your app or develop directly on Etherlink. And later with JsTz, we are targeting more JavaScript and web developers. So they will bring their own tools, I would say, because it already exists.
Okay. And the transition that you're describing towards layer 2, what does that mean for Tezos's layer 1? Like, what part will Tezos's layer 1 play in the sort of Tezos X driven future that you're describing?
So the transaction, so the layer 2 will work only if the layer 1 exists. That you cannot survive with the layer 2 alone like this. So what will happen on the layer 1 is that you will receive all the segmentation transaction from the layer 2 because it's an optimistic product. So you will see more and more activity. In fact, it's the activity of the layer 2 or transaction of the layer 2. And we remain maybe some the apps on the layer 1. So the only one that you will see, they are the application, they are still on the layer 1. But if they don't migrate to the layer 2, it's okay. It means that they prefer to have something more robust and decentralized than going to a layer 2 and having this scalability that they don't really need.
Okay. And as far as your role in developer relations, what does that transition mean for the sort of the larger effort to attract builders and developers and their projects to the ecosystem from the standpoint of somebody who will be interacting with those builders and sort of supporting them through that process?
Repeat please the question.
So you are a developer relations person with Nomadic, right? So your role is to interact with builders and developers who have a project and are looking to build it somewhere like here in the Tezos ecosystem, right?
Yeah.
So that transition from what Tezos was last year to Tezos X and what we're looking at Tezos being in 2025, what does that mean for the way that you will interact with them and how you will support them in their journey and bring them toward wanting to build their projects here is what I'm
so we'll be different in the skills because previously it was maybe supporting more the languages on the layer 1 like Go, SmartPy, etc. So that was for the Michelson runtime. Right now on the layer 2 you have Etherlink, and Etherlink is Ethereum technology. So that's a new ecosystem, though the language differs. So you have Solidity, for example, for the smart contract language. You have a Survivor, but we don't use so much Survivor here. And you have also the tooling like Hard Hat or Foundry. So what we are doing right now, we are scaling ourselves into this new stack that is not part of the Tezos layer 1, and we also are bringing all the tools and all the applications that already exist on Ethereum or all the layer 2s of Ethereum for enabling people to be able to build. So for example, bringing stable coins, bringing oracles for data, currency pair data feed, this kind of thing. Like this, they will be able to to have this information. Also bring indexer to be compatible with Etherlink, oracles in general. So I talked about currency pair data feed before, but there are other kind of also of data you can feed on the system. So all these things that already exist and people are used with other Ethereum layer 2s, we are trying to break them into Etherlink right now, one by one. It also involves wallet providers. So you can use, for example, MetaMask today on Etherlink, Rabi, etc. But we found still some not mainstream wallets today. They are still not updated with the network's information for Etherlink, for example. So we're trying to reach them and to say, hey, just update the last libraries, and you will see that Etherlink will appear on your networks. So the users, they can select Etherlink when they connect with the app. So there is a lot of work underground that people don't see. That is quite huge energy to have something similar with normal Ethereum L2 ecosystems.
Okay. And I think, from the standpoint of Tezos and the Tezos ecosystem, the sort of value proposition of tapping into the Ethereum /EVM ecosystem is pretty obvious, right? It's huge. It's where the vast majority of activity is happening. Tezos getting into that space, it's pretty easy to understand why we need to do that. But for developers in that space who might be considering building out their project with Etherlink, what are the benefits they can expect to see if they choose to do so?
Okay, so if you want to have a comparison with other layer 2s, like I think the closest they are Arbitrum and Optimism. So if you look on the sequencer, you will see that there are many centralized on this ecosystem. Also, they control the bridge from Ethereum layer 1 to their layer 2s. On Etherlink, what you have is we are currently deploying the DAO. It's kind of distributed storage, decentralized storage, that will allow the sequencer to be decentralized. So that's a big point. And also on the bridge side, it is enshrined inside the Tezos protocol. So it's almost impossible to hack. That's another difference. On the scaling side, you see that Arbitrum and Optimism, they are not so performant. I would say we are not going to reach the speed of Solana, for example, for the moment. So how they attract people today is mainly on the fees. So because the fees are lower than Ethereum layer 1, people, they move to this kind of technology. But today, if you look at Etherlink, we even have lower cost on the fees. So that's an advantage.
Okay. And obviously, as we've discussed, like your specific part right now in the larger effort to bring Tezos X forward is really very much focused on the development of JsTz, right? So what part will runtimes like, obviously JsTz leading the charge, but runtimes like JsTz play in bringing Tezos X to life?
So like I said, Tezos X is a multi-runtime evolution of Tezos. So we are starting with Etherlink first, with the Ethereum technology. So JsTz will come after, but we don't know yet with TezLink. So JsTz will be for the JavaScript runtime, and TezLink with Michelson runtime. So I don't know which one of the two next will be out, but TezLink will be more focused on people who wants to migrate from the L1. And I would say that we are more focused on JsTz on the second step, because that's very open world with all these JavaScript developers. They are everywhere in the world. They are the first developers in the world community. So that would be a big one. No.
Okay. And what's the ultimate goal of the transition to Tezos X as you see it?
So the goal, that's we know that most of the applications they will live on the L2. That's what we see on Ethereum community right now. They are leaving the L1 and they are just letting the consensus running. There are still some apps, but it's almost impossible to use with the costs that are inferred by that. So I think the unique proposition that we have with Tezos X is to have this multi runtime that you cannot find on Arbitrum or Optimism or even Base, just an instance of Optimism, because they just use the same technology with Ethereum and they are not proposing different runtimes.
Okay. And what about from like a Tezos marketing perspective? I know we talked about this transition impacting the way that Tezos is sort of perceived by the sort of builder and developer community. So what's the goal of Tezos X as it relates to the larger marketing effort of the Tezos ecosystem?
So Tezos X is a vision, is our funnel game, and the target that we have. It's good for people to know that we have this long-term objective for bringing this runtime step by step. So the real focus right now on the marketing is clearly Etherlink. So Etherlink is on production, but we still have it beta because we upgrade it quite often, and we want people really right now to try it and to deploy the apps, and they will see the difference. The difference that they will have on deploying on other L2s. So like I said before, so for the moment on the scalability is pretty much the same that you will find on Optimism and Arbitrum, because we haven't activated yet the DAO. But once the DAO will be activated, you will see how fast it will be, and then the cost also will be reduced quite a lot.
Okay. So obviously, talking to you, you're have quite a deep understanding of the technical aspects of the way that blockchain runs and the way that Tezos runs. What's something about this world and this space and this technology that you wish more people understood the way that you do?
Wow, it's not very simple. What I can say is you have a website that I like to go for comparing L2s. It's called L2Bits. I think it's very well known in the Ethereum community. The problem is they do a very good job, I think, trying to compare these L2s, because people, they say we have a L2, but if you look inside how it's made, all the components, how they work together, there are huge differences in the implementation. One or the other is more or less centralized, decentralized, etc. And they have a lot of criteria like this, and they do a good job. The problem that we have with them, for example, is they just compare all the L2s on who have the consensus on Ethereum L1. So you cannot make any comparison with other L2s, but not plug with an L1 that is not Ethereum L1 like Etherlink. So it would be great if one day we have this comparison. If we can integrate it to Bits, for example, I would see it would be great. And also there are people, for example, building L2s. They are plugged on Bitcoin. They want to plug L2s on Bitcoin. And I think it's important also that everyone should be open and be judged by objectively with all these criteria we have already set by this team.
Okay. And what's next for Ben Fuentes and the Nomadic Labs team? Do you have any upcoming projects or announcements that we should be on the lookout for?
I would say to keep an eye on JsTz because we are releasing some news on the coming months and releases. Like I said, it's still beta, but there are still some important milestones for us. And have a look also on when the DAL will be deployed on Etherlink, because it's also that something that we are very enthusiastic about, and we are looking on for to see what would be the big difference with or without the DAL. So right now we are trying to activate on the ghostnet, and later we'll be on the mainnet and we'll be just ready on the performance. So you will have some news coming very soon. And on Etherlink also, we are preparing a complete tutorial and video that will be released on YouTube that helps you to onboard you on Etherlink, because what we have done on the documentation, that we have put all the tools that are already available, all the oracles, indexer, etc. And if you take one by one like this, some people, they are a bit lost on what I should choose, or how can I aggregate all this stuff all together. So I'm preparing this tutorial, and we'll release a video on YouTube on that.
Okay. And where's the best place if somebody wants to keep up to date on those things? Where's the best place for them to watch for that info to come out?
So for the moment, what we are doing is we are moving a lot of things to Discord for Etherlink. So I should say, look on Etherlink. There are announcements on the channel on Discord. Otherwise, we keep communicating with normal social networks like X.com or LinkedIn, or even more. So stay connected to the channels that you are used to. Just for information, the Slack we had before, some people, they were accessing a Slack as we were all the core teams there, etc. before. So we have moved the Slack for only internal purpose right now. So it will not be accessible for anyone except internal people. So I would say if you were here, just move to the Discord for Tezos or for Etherlink. Yeah, there are two different Discords. And yeah, that's pretty much that.
Okay. We could go on all day, but unfortunately we're almost at the end here. To all our viewers, thanks for watching. If you'd like to get in touch with us, our social media contacts can be found at tezoscommons.org/TezTalks. We'd love to hear from you. Ben, thanks so much for joining us today. It's always awesome to speak to the folks working behind the scenes to keep Tezos at the bleeding edge of the blockchain technology space. Is there anything else you'd like to mention or touch on before we sign off here?
Oh, no, thank you, Stu, for the first time participate to TezTalks. Thank you a lot.
My pleasure.
See you next time.
Okay. To everyone out there in Tezos land, thanks for joining us on TezTalks Live. I'm Stu from the Tezos Commons, and our awesome guest has been Ben Fuentes, Developer Relations at Nomadic Labs. Now let's go explore what Tezos X has to offer.